Welcome to The Deep Dive, the show that takes a stack of sources, extracts the most important nuggets of knowledge, and delivers them straight to you, our curious listener. It's your ultimate shortcut to being truly well-informed.
Wow.
Today, we're plunging into a world where everything you thought you knew about teen vampire romance is about to be, well, hilariously turned on its head. We're taking a deep dive into Nightlight from the storied pages of the Harvard Lampoon.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it's not just, a funny book. It's actually a brilliant piece of literary satire that meticulously dismantles an entire genre. For those who might not know, the Harvard Lampoon has this incredible legacy, right? Goes all the way back to 1876.
Wow, that long ago?
Yeah, modeled on the British humor magazine Punch. And get this, its debut issue was apparently so notoriously funny that President Ulysses S. Grant was advised not to read it.
Seriously, why?
They were afraid he'd be too much in stitches to actually run the government.
That's quite the endorsement for a humor magazine, and you can really feel that spirit. That sharp, incisive wit, that blend of sophisticated humor with really deeply silly premises, it definitely carries into Nightlight.
Absolutely. It's a masterclass in parody. It's not just making fun, it's meticulously mirroring the original genre's style, to expose its underlying absurdity.
Right. So our mission today is to explore how this parody works. We'll uncover its quirky characters, its unexpected plot twists, and the surprisingly insightful yet totally absurd commentary it offers on a wildly popular genre.
Yeah, we're aiming for those aha moments where the humor suddenly reveals something deeper about popular culture.
Exactly. All while hopefully keeping you thoroughly entertained. Okay, let's unpack this thing. So our journey kicks off with the unforgettable Belle Goose. She's a self-described, self-exiled exile, ditching sunny Phoenix for the perpetually rainy, too-green town of Switchblade, Oregon, a place she insists no one knows about.
And she describes her own expression as dejected, brooding, and intriguing.
Classic. Totally. She admits to feeling out of place, but also mature for her age.
What's immediately clear is how Nightlight uses, hyperbole to satirize that archetypal YA protagonist, Belle's whole melodramatic self-perception, her exaggerated internal monologue, it perfectly mirrors that earnest, often really overwrought narration you find in the books. It's parodying.
Yeah, it's spot on.
Even her family dynamics feed into this. Her mom has separation anxiety. The new stepdad, Bill, is just cheaper than a sitter.
Ouch.
Right. And her dad, the window wiper, makes her think about her pet umbilical cord phase.
Okay, that's specific.
It all sets the stage for a character whose internal world is just profoundly bizarre, but she treats it like it's totally normal.
Absolutely. And her grand entrance to high school really seals the deal on that tone. I mean, imagine arriving at a new school. What's your ride?
Right. Maybe your parents' minivan.
For Belle, it's a free U-Haul truck.
Get out.
Yeah, with a lumberjack graphic, which she proudly parks in both the principal's and the vice principal's spaces.
No way. Both.
Both. This isn't just funny, it's perfect hyperbole. It takes that whole new kid trying to make an impression trope and just inflates it to this comically absurd level. Immediately signals Belle's unique and, let's be honest, often delusional perspective.
And her first day is just this chaotic string of events. Breakfast is fish flakes.
Fish flakes.
Fish flakes. She embraces this queen warrior persona, makes quote-unquote friends like Tom, who wants revenge, and Lucy, who's got squirrel-like eyes. It's like this rapid-fire sequence just showing how her internal melodrama completely distorts her, frankly, mundane reality.
And then he shows up.
Edwart Mullen.
He's described as an average of every woman's idea of a hot guy, muscular yet lean, with reddish blonde-brown hair that was groomed heterosexually.
Okay, wait.
He sits alone with an untouched tray of baked potatoes, staring intensely at a computer screen. His eyes flick towards me, slithering over my face and boring into my heart like fangs.
So Edward makes his grand, awkward entrance. What about that first description immediately screams satire to you?
Oh, it's absolutely that groomed heterosexually line. It's just so exquisitely specific and absurd. It skewers those generic, hyper-idealized, often kind of bland descriptions of love interests in the original genre, immediately clues you into the Lampoon's wit.
Exactly.
But beyond the humor, what does that choice tell us about how Nightlight sees masculinity in these stories?
Well, it points directly to the superficiality, right?
Yeah.
And the often manufactured perfection of these characters. They're built from a checklist, basically, and Nightlight makes that checklist hilariously obvious.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets even better. Biology class. Belle deliberately sits next to him, after kicking another chair's leg, mind you.
Subtle.
Then she yanks out his computer wire, which sparks this unnaturally high-pitched scream from Edward.
And screams.
Oh, yeah. And his response, he draws a chalk circle around himself.
Oh, what?
Draw the chalk circle, sings a little germs contagious jingle, and then frantically purells his hands after Belle uses his pencil to pick her pimples.
Oh, my God.
It's this brilliant inversion of the typical dangerous vampire trope. Instead, you get this germophobic, super sensitive teenager.
But Belle sees.
Well, Belle sees his dark, soulless eyes and demonic white wings, which are actually just his shoulder blades. She's already building her own fantasy narrative.
Right. So clearly there's more to Edward, and Belle, in her own, let's say, unique and often deluded way, is determined to figure him out. So with these peculiar observations, her internal logic starts working overtime. What kind of deductions does she make? And how does Nightlight poke fun at that classic mystery man trope?
Well, her not-human theories escalate pretty dramatically, especially when we get to the blood lab. But first, her second day starts with Edward saving her from a snowball.
Saving her.
Well, saving her quotes. But he's actually more interested in yelling, "Prepare for doom, Nemesis," and throwing snow at the school.
Okay, so not exactly heroic.
Not really. But Belle takes this bizarre antisocial behavior and twists it into proof of his, superhuman abilities. She starts writing this list of rational reasons Edward won't talk to her.
Yeah.
Too scared, too sad, too mute, not human.
That list itself is pretty telling.
It's pure comedic gold.
Yeah.
It shows her just desperately trying to rationalize the inexplicable,
And then the infamous blood lab scene.
Right. So during the class blood typing experiment, Edward is mysteriously absent. When he finally shows up, Belle notices something red stuck in his teeth.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
And her immediate shouted conclusion, "Dentist patient."
Dentist patient.
Which she then immediately has to revise because, well, he's naturally perfect teeth. This moment, plus the fact that a nurse calls Edward daily for a shot for a trip to Transylvania, it just firmly plants the vampire idea in Belle's head.
It's such a satirical masterstroke. Takes every vague, suggestive clue from the genre and just makes them absurdly literal, or she completely misinterprets them.
And this is where the satire gets really clever, addressing the cultural phenomenon it's parodying, but with this absurd twist. Back home, Belle channels her inner Sherlock Holmes, or as she calls it, Belle Goose on the loose,
Right.
using tin can telephones for internet access.
Tin can telephones.
Yeah. She researches vampire, and the results she gets are things like Kristen Stewart's on-set romance.
Oh, perfect.
So, frustrated by these clearly non-vampire results, she decides to take matters into her own hands. She edits the vampire Wikipedia page.
She actually edited Wikipedia.
Yep. Declares, "Edwart Mullen of Switchblade, Oregon is a vampire, but don't kill him because I love him." And she includes a picture of his abs.
Of course she does. Wow.
Yeah.
That moment with the Wikipedia edit, and you mentioned her dad's vampire drowning song earlier, it brilliantly deconstructs how these young protagonists often just create their own fantasy narratives, right?
Yeah.
Twisting reality and cultural stuff to fit their intense emotional needs.
Exactly. Nightlight is showing us that even a supposed dark romance can be fueled by sheer internet-enabled delusion. It's such a perfect modern touch.
It really is.
And then, to complicate things even more, her friend Angelica has a seizure and gives this cryptic prophecy. "A room full of vampires. Beware of the crown."
And Belle's interpretation.
Naturally, she figures Edward must be getting a dental crown for a vampire biting spree.
A dental crown. Okay.
These moments just leave you, the listener, wondering, okay, how much of Belle's world is pure delusion and how much is just genuinely strange reality that she's trying to make sense of? The genius is in that literal interpretation of every dramatic hint.
So Belle, ever the romantic, desperately tries to make Edward jealous. Invites basically most of the boys in school to prom.
How does that go?
Doesn't work. Edward's mood ring stays purplish brown, so this leads her to join Edward's club. The beauty of price elasticity and free pizza.
Wait, what?
Yeah, a club that apparently aims to communicate with deep-sea cetaceans. It's this incredible mix of melodrama and just mundane, almost geeky interests.
Wow. And the commitment to this cetacean economics club, it requires Belle to sign a contract stating, "Edward hereby possesses the soul of Belle Goose."
That's just peak satire, right? It's
Yeah.
hyperbole at its absolute finest, just mocking the intensity and, frankly, the possessive nature you often see in YA romance.
Yeah, you have to ask, what's more important here, romance or economics?
Yeah.
In Belle's world, they're somehow tangled together.
And there are more clues about Edward during a shopping trip. He has this peculiar aversion to garlic chocolate,
Garlic chocolate.
which is really just a Hershey's bar. Belle exclaims, "The only people who don't like garlic are," and he just runs off.
Okay, she's getting closer, in her mind anyway.
And then there's the vampire simulation game at the mall. She feels her skin blanching, her blood going dead, develops an insatiable urge for magnesium, then blood.
Oh no.
And then she lunges at an old man in the store and bites his wrist.
She actually bites someone.
Yep. It's such a brilliant, twisted literalization of her internal vampire fantasies. I mean, who hasn't felt a weird craving and immediately pictured themselves as a monster? It really drives home that satirical point about protagonists getting totally consumed by their self-created dramas.
Definitely. So what does all this mean for their relationship?
Well, the tension peaks in a cemetery, which Belle fondly calls a Say Mary Metery.
Oh, lovely. A classic romantic setting ripe for subversion.
Exactly. Edward feels nauseated by the fear and emotion of the place, and after Belle presses him, he makes this shocking confession.
This is it, right? The big reveal.
He is not a vampire. He's merely a moderate blood drinker who likes his hamburgers medium rare.
A moderate, right. So not exactly Dracula then.
Not even close. He admits he's a control freak, and Belle is his first girlfriend. He even details this role play where he pretended to be a vampire, listing the 5 S's of blood drinking: suck, sip, swirl, and simmer. Simmer. Okay, this revelation just shatters Belle's whole monster hierarchy. But more importantly, it just absolutely deflates the romantic tension with that classic Lampoon absurdity.
And just as Belle is processing this utterly mundane confession, the ground cracks open and Joshua emerges from a tombstone. A real vampire.
Finally.
Yep. Bloodstained fangs, black cape, the whole deal. Though his collar is pressed down in obvious defiance of the current trends.
Gotta keep up appearances, even when undead.
Apparently. He says he meant to ask Belle to prom, but now he needs to take your lives for nourishment.
Okay, now things get serious. The juxtaposition here is fantastic. We go from Edward's hilariously underwhelming human confession straight to the actual monster.
And Edward's reaction.
He screamed and covered his eyes, experienced the greatest fear of his life, accused Belle of having abnormal and perverse fantasies. Then he hysterically yells and just runs away, tripping over gravestones.
So much for the brooding hero. Exactly. It completely inverts that dark, brooding male lead, exposing him as just a terrified, germophobic control freak when faced with actual danger.
So Belle's left alone, burns her Edward keepsakes, faces Joshua, and their fight is interrupted by Vicky, Joshua's sister.
Don't tell me.
Who's filming a home movie called A Day in the Life of Josh and Vicky.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Belle is forced to say, "Great to meet you, Josh and Vicky. Thanks for not eating me." Gets forced into a kiss she finds not very sanitary, and Joshua declares them a couple now and invites her to vampire prom.
Talk about a whirlwind romance where even the vampires are just unexpectedly mundane and into filmmaking.
Right. So the chaos continues. Joshua takes Belle home for prom prep, tries to smooth talk her dad, Jim.
How does that go?
He presents this formal agreement for 4 laying geese, a bundle of barrel staves, and the use of my largest scythe. Claims he's a window graffiti artist.
A window graffiti artist.
Which, ironically, is despised by Jim, who's a window wiper and a self-proclaimed female body inspector.
Wait, a female body inspector? What does Belle think that means?
She thinks it's some type of gynecologist.
Oh, my goodness.
Jim fires his Revolutionary War rifle at Josh, who supernaturally avoids the bullet. So Belle quickly declares Josh a werewolf to calm her dad down.
It's just a brilliant display of Belle constantly adapting to absurd situations with equally absurd explanations. She just rolls with it.
She really does. So the prom itself, it's a masterclass in comedic subversion. The theme, fancy Venetian masquerade.
Okay.
But everyone is dressed as human. It's apparently a human romance novel phenomenon in the vampire world.
They're cosplaying as humans.
Pretty much. Josh, in a tux, flashes false human teeth, insisting he's a human guy. The punch bowls are labeled with blood types AB positive, O negative.
Of course.
Belle, trying to fit in, asks if AB positive is apples and bananas before she sips the blood in horror.
The genius here is how Lampoon dissects the vampire lore itself, isn't it? The real vampires are now trying to emulate the humans they prey on. It just exposes the silliness under the surface.
Exactly. And the mockery Belle gets from Josh's friends, Levi and Zeke, for sounding so human.
What do they say?
They giggle and go, "Hello, hello, my name is Human Guy. It's this sharp commentary on the othering in the genre, but also just the satirical take on that shallow desire for conformity, maybe.
Could be. And Josh's defense of Belle is equally backhanded. He says her quirky, defective differences are an inherent flaw within your species.
Charming. It definitely highlights that. But it also makes me wonder, does Nightlight suggest that the original genre's idea of belonging is just another form of exclusion, even among the supernatural?
That's a really interesting point.
Then Lucy shows up unexpectedly, invited by Levi, threatens Belle about prom queen.
Of course. High school drama transcends species.
Apparently. Belle does an ironic tap dance, which somehow causes a political uprising among the vampires, dividing them into pro-splashers and anti-splashers.
Pro-splashers.
Don't ask. Lucy gets caught in the middle. Her arm gets pricked. She has hemophilia. Blood spurts like a fire hydrant. And the vampires just descend into a feeding frenzy.
Wow. That escalated quickly. It's grotesque, hilarious, and just a perfect example of chaos erupting from the most trivial thing. Teen drama tropes inflated to the absolute extreme.
Despite all that, Belle and Josh are crowned prom king and queen.
Naturally.
But Angelica's prophecy comes true. Lucy points to a 50-pound dumbbell with a spiky tiara attached falling from the ceiling.
Beware the crown, literally.
Exactly. Belle ducks just in time. That literal interpretation is pure Lampoon genius. Brings a dramatic prophecy crashing down to earth with this violently absurd thud, underscores how often ominous warnings are either misunderstood or just become comically mundane.
It certainly makes for a memorable prom night.
You could say that. Belle, totally fed up with Josh's authoritative commands and the whole vampire drama, declares, "I'm tired of vampires," runs out into the night feeling lost. But then, a white, pasty light glowing on the horizon, followed by 2 green lights and a goofy metal-gridded smile.
It's Edward.
It's Edward. And this moment represents this crucial turning point, right? It satirizes the protagonist's emotional exhaustion with all the constant drama, only for her to find solace in this unexpectedly familiar, if still totally quirky, figure.
So, returning home, Belle immediately disables the ring for criminals but ignore any vampire setting on her alarm, installs vampire-proof locks that only human hands can open.
Smart move.
Then she puts on a slim satin evening gown, rips it accidentally, and purposefully messes up her hair so Edward will think that I had a hard time getting to him.
Oh, Belle. It's this wonderful blend of actual self-preservation, calculated romantic strategy, and still that touch of delusion that makes her weirdly endearing.
That dual approach perfectly reflects her journey, doesn't it? From being this passive romantic interest to becoming an active, if still absurdly self-absorbed agent in her own story.
Yeah. As she approaches Edward's glass house, Josh calls.
What does he want? Another date?
Nope. It's a pre-recorded message about car insurance.
Car insurance, really?
Turns out that's his true vampire profession, using their commanding voices for pre-recorded phone call.
That is a delightfully modern and mundane twist. Completely undermines the vampire mystique with just annoying modern reality. Brilliant.
So when Belle finally reaches Edward, he's holding a steak in one hand.
Okay.
And wearing a Team Jacob shirt in the other.
Perfect.
He greets her, relieved she wasn't bitten, saying, "That would be a twist." Apologizes for abandoning her, explaining he went to get his anatomically correct android.
His android.
You're right.
This is the ultimate gotcha, isn't it? Revealing his whole dangerous nature was basically just a prank.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Edward reveals the android's new function. It's a cold-seeking missile called a vampire shish kebab.
A vampire shish kebab.
Voiced by Jeff Goldblum, who Edward proudly declares was the first robot to ever win an Academy Award.
Okay, that's just layers of absurdity.
He explains he waited for Belle so they could blow them up together. It was all a prank. His dangerous persona was totally fabricated.
This completely defangs the monster, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Literally and figuratively. Makes that poignant satirical point. Sometimes the most exciting monsters are just ordinary people with elaborate, maybe self-serving quirks.
And his ultimate love language, it turns out, video games.
Of course.
Edward unveils a game he created. Belle is an unflatteringly computer-animated girl with brown hair and red highlights. Edward is a muscular warrior. And Josh is represented as a mushroom.
A mushroom? Wow. That's an unexpectedly sweet, if still utterly ridiculous, form of affection.
Right. And Belle, truly in love with this peculiar, cramp-ridden geek, declares, "I love you more than everything in the entire galaxy combined into one potent, delicious piece of gum."
That sounds like Belle.
After tracing invisible shapes, a computer, a turkey on each other, they attempt a butterfly kiss. But Edward is plagued by leg cramp, and foot cramp.
Poor Edward. The romance is real, the muscles are not cooperating.
But finally, Edward put his cold lips to my neck for the first time.
It's a testament, really, to a relationship that, despite all its absurdity and physical discomfort, is finally going steady. It perfectly encapsulates the book's blend of satire and, surprisingly, emotional resonance.
Yeah, it shows that even a deeply flawed, kind of self-absorbed protagonist can find this peculiar, enduring connection. Even if it's not the dramatic supernatural romance she first imagined, it's an embrace of the awkward, the real, and the imperfect.
Definitely. What a journey through the absurd world of Nightlight. From Belle's initial self-exile and her peculiar family to the germophobic, video game-loving Edward and the truly vampiric yet oddly mundane antics of Josh. This deep dive has been a wild ride.
It really has. We've seen how Nightlight takes every expected beat of a beloved genre and just subverts it with wit and this relentless commitment to its own unique brand of humor.
And this parody, published by the Harvard Lampoon, it isn't just about making fun, is it? It's about intelligent observation, just exaggerated for comedic effect. It really challenges you, the listener, to look at familiar narratives with a fresh, critical eye, reveals those underlying structures and, let's face it, often silly conventions we take for granted in popular fiction, especially when they're taken to their absurd, logical conclusions.
So as you reflect on Belle and Edward's quirky, cramp-filled romance and all the quote-unquote superhuman antics, maybe consider this. What other popular stories, when you view them through a similar lens of humor and exaggeration, might reveal some surprising truths, or at least give you a good laugh?
Yeah, what tropes are so ingrained in the stories we love that we don't even notice them anymore until, they're presented in a light so ridiculous it becomes undeniable? Makes you think about how much of our own realities might be built on the narratives we consume, doesn't it?
That's a great point. We hope this deep dive into Nightlight has offered you a shortcut to being well-informed and hopefully thoroughly entertained. Until next time, keep digging into those unexpected sources of knowledge and insight.